Making my final approach. I just passed Shady Lake. Caney Creek. Got a little bit of water going over the road here. A little low water crossing. It takes a little bit to get over here. And you definitely have to be, well, I mean, you can make it in a smaller vehicle, but you're really going to have an easier time in a pickup or SUV that's a little bit higher ground clearance. That's one of the things to keep in mind. And I'll keep you updated as we get closer. Here I am, getting ready to go onto the Buckeye Trail. Got a little bit of a walk ahead of me, but I still got plenty of daylight. I had to park uphill here from the East Caney Creek Trailhead because the parking lot down there was completely full. There was like, I don't know, a dozen cars down there, which is like super full, from what I understand. Anyway, here we go walking. Going to cover about 4.7 miles today, which is, doesn't sound too bad, but we'll see. So I'll keep reporting to you. I'll be back later. See you on the trail. So if you're coming up the Buckeye Trail from East Caney Creek, or you're starting at the Buckeye Trail, about half a mile, about 6/10 of a mile, somewhere around there, you're going to be at this big rock outcropping. Isn't that cool? Beautiful. Just beautiful, y'all. And I'm going to get off the camera for a second and show you from this angle. Man, it's gorgeous. It's really a nice day. It's in the upper to mid 60s. Man, this rock is just incredible. So glad I came up here. Looks like a lot of people have kind of walked around this thing. Oh, it's windy for sure. Seen all kinds of things, I'm sure. So I'm just about a mile in on the Buckeye Trail. Wow, what a view, y'all. I had to take my pack off and put it down here. Put my poles in my American lay down. Excuse me. But if you look at those mountains out there, wow. They're not Colorado mountains, but they're beautiful. That's Tall Peak over there, straight ahead. And I still don't think I'm quite at the top of Buckeye Mountain, but the trail was right there. Coming up, it's kind of overgrown with these, I don't know what kind of flowers these are. I'm a forester. I should know my flowers better, but I don't. But this is where I've got to go to keep going up Buckeye Mountain, almost to the top, about a mile in from the trailhead at Buckeye Parking. See you a little bit later. As you're hiking along, you're definitely going to see some beautiful scenery. This is just further along the trail, what you saw earlier. Tall Peak right there, center frame, and then over to the side. Now, approximately 2 miles in from the 175 to 2 miles in from the Buckeye Mountain Trailhead, there is a nice ridgetop camp here. You have shelter from the wind. These rocks here, you're kind of down in this little depressed area. You've got a fire ring. You can see people have set up a tent here in the past, so it's not a leave no trace site or not stealth camping, but it is, you know, not a bad deal. And look at that. There's a steak that somebody left. How about that? I guess I'll keep that for myself. Finders keepers. There's a little cricket right there on top of that steak, making all that big noise. Anyway, we'll go on down the trail. Got another mile and a half to 2 miles. Be at the down part going into the Caney Creek Valley, that direction over there, where the sun is. And there we go. Oh, and another thing to add, you have a nice fire ring right there. Not bad. Some places, somebody's made some little chairs there, little seats to sit on. That's pretty neat. There's some rocks, but there is no water up here, so you'd have to bring in your own water. There's no water source on top of this ridge, no spring, nothing like that. So if you camp up here, just be advised, you need to bring and pack in your own water. Might be hard to see in the direct sunlight, but I'll try to readjust myself here without falling over some rocks. There are some large ones here. But straight ahead, as far as I can figure on the map, on the left is Katy Mountain, on the right is Hannah Mountain. And so the trail continues, so it kind of goes right between those two mountains, and then it goes down into the Caney Creek Valley. So I'm getting there. Running a little bit behind, but it's gonna be all right. If it gets dark, I have lights. Okay, see ya. Interesting little guy right here. Walking stick. Going up the tree. First one that I've seen. Supposedly there's a bunch of them out here. But that's the first one that I've seen. Anyway, here we go. Just as a side note, I'm hiking in my Keen hiking boots. It's kind of hard to film it and walk at the same time, evidently. But I feel more sure-footed in hiking boots. Now, maybe what works for you is you use trail runners. Maybe that's what you like and works well for you. And I have some trail runners, some Salomons that I've day hiked in. I've never backpacked it. Never backpacked in them. So that could be an interesting experiment sometimes, but this time I decided I was going to go with these Keens. And anyway, so here I am. So far, so good. Whoa, y'all, look at this. A gigantic rock outcropping here. This thing must be, I don't know, 60, 70 feet in length. Probably about 30 feet tall. Really cool. Really cool little deal right there. Of course, over here, this is Katy Mountain. Over there is where the sun is, Hannah Mountain. So I'm getting close to going down into the valley. And that would be cool, because then I can go relax for a bit, have a little camp time. I think I'll go this way. Have a little camp time, make a little food, set up the tent and the sleeping system and all that kind of good stuff. So, anyway, hope you're enjoying the video so far. Well, you know what they say, y'all. What goes up must come down. So I did my up first, up Buckeye Mountain. Highest portion of the trail goes over at 2,200 feet-ish. I think it's 2,210, one of the highest peaks in the Ouachitas and in Arkansas. And now I'm going down to the Caney Creek Valley in Katy Falls for an evening of camping and cooking some food on the old stove, and hopefully hang around the fire and just chilling. All right, see you down there. I feel like Lloyd Christmas on Dumb and Dumber. Radio? Who needs a radio? I'm working my way back to you, babe. I'm not really working my way back to anything. I'm just going down to the bottom. However, I am anxious to get to the bottom because I have had a couple of slippery moments. It's not the most fun, but it's not the least fun going down on this little trail. It's a little slippery underfoot, but I have less than a mile until I get down to the trail junction where there are some campsites in that vicinity. So it's been a pretty good day overall. You can see the trail goes that way, continuing down and kind of up and down and making its way slowly down into the valley. So see you in a bit. Hey folks, what y'all been waiting for? Katy Falls. There it is. Beautiful. Beautiful. No matter which way you came from, I came from there on the Buckeye Trailhead, 4.7 miles. The West Caney Creek Trailhead is behind me, and the East Caney Creek Trail is in front of me. The way I will leave out tomorrow will be the East Caney Creek Trail, And looks like a good camp spot right down there. Awesome. Hopefully you can see all this. I did end up dumping out my food bag over there. I got a fire going right over here. I got some grub cooking. This is, I was gonna say famous, but this is the first time I've ever cooked it outside. I have cooked it before at the house. Roasted garlic, Idahoan mashed potatoes with some spam. And it looks like it might be boiling. No, not quite. 16 ounces of water. And you let it boil. Put in your roasted garlic. You let it sit for a minute. I'm gonna put a little spam single light in there. And probably a little piece of cheese. Got some cheese earlier. Got my little lantern going right there. Got some little fire going. First aid stuff over here. Got my tent going over here. You might recognize that tent if you've seen my other videos. Backpack's over there, and there is the new chair. And it's definitely worth hauling almost 5 miles through the woods today. Over the hills and valleys to Grandma's house we go. It looks like that's steaming, so we're gonna see what we got going. So let's take a look. Oh yeah, it's boiling. Definitely boiling. So we're gonna be safety first here. We're gonna take our lovely kitchen towel so we don't burn our little handsies. We're gonna set that off. Alright, there it is. Now we're going to turn the stove off because we don't need the stove anymore. And the next directions on the package. Easy peasy. So anyway, I think you get my drift. So I'll catch it up here in a second. I don't know how good you can see this, but got my lantern down there. Dessert's going to be a sweet and salty granola bar, peanut flavored. Got the spam here, and the potatoes. Sorry, there we go. And some cheese mixed in, and then some Nalgene water. Man, lovely. I'm not gonna make y'all watch me eat, but I'm gonna enjoy this. Well, it's been a full day. Here I am in the tent. I am ready to go to bed. It's just a little after 9 o'clock. And I'm exhausted, so I'll see y'all in the morning. Okay, good night. Hey, good morning, y'all. I slept pretty good. And it did get cool last night, but I'd say pretty warm. Overall, just heard several hikers go by on the trail, because the trail is like just a little bit to that way from where I'm in my tent right now. Heard several go by. It is, I think it's about 7:45 right now. Yeah, 7:43. So I was pretty close. Tent did pretty well. You know, condensation of course, but not too terribly bad. Slept pretty well on my air mat, which was, you know, really a cheapie from Amazon. So the plan now is to put the rest of my clothes on and get out here and filter some water out of the creek, which you can probably hear. So I'm really close to the creek, and cook some breakfast. And then after that, I may go see Katy Falls, which is just about 5 to 10 minutes over there. I'm up. When I got to the camp last night, I was almost totally out of water. Luckily, I'm camped by Caney Creek and Katy Creek. This is Caney Creek here, fixing to get water out of. And then Caney Creek is there. It runs that way back to the trailhead. So, anyway, I'm going to try to get some water out of here. As long as I can find a spot, that would be good. Well, where does it go? Right there up that ridge. Yeah, so I did the same thing. Oh, I got you. Just keep staying to your left and then go right up that ridge and you'll be set. Now, some breakfast. The sun's coming up. You can kind of see it behind me there. Over there. And it's already getting warmer. Mountain House adventure meal, scrambled eggs, serving for one. Because I am rolling this one solo. All I gotta do is add 8 ounces of water and let it sit for just like 10 minutes. You got a wonderful meal of scrambled eggs and bacon. Let's get cracking. Handily enough, I have my own little kitchen table right here at my campsite. I'm glad I ordered ahead for this. And in here, lovely freeze-dried scrambled eggs with bacon. It's pretty good. And I got some coffee over here in my little Ouachita Trail little junky cup, but it'll work. It's lightweight and it's collapsible. It doesn't have to be pretty. Remember, when you get your gear, it has to be functional for you. It doesn't always have to be so pretty. But what a beautiful view to have breakfast by. I do have to filter some more water before I break camp. And the plan is to, this is Caney Creek, to go back up the trail a little bit, see Katy Falls a little bit better. It was dark yesterday when I saw it. And with full pack and everything, and then come back here and cross the creek and then go up that little ridge line to, cross the creek and go up the little ridge line there. East Caney Creek Trail back to the trailhead, and then I have to walk up the road. Should be back at my truck at Buckeye Mountain, I would say a little bit after lunchtime, is my guess. We'll see if that is true. And this pine tree right here, wow, look at that sucker. Yeah, it is probably the tallest pine tree I've ever seen in the Ouachita Mountains, and biggest around too. A quick tour of the camp here. Talk about my chair for a second. Talking about some of the mistakes that I think not really mistakes, but just kind of boo-boos on my part that I made for this trip. And one thing was I brought way too much food for an overnight trip. I had like 6 pounds of food, which is way too much. In the future, I will pack better. Another issue, it's not very efficient. I don't think it's operator error entirely, but with that connection right there, I can pump from my Caney Hydro Pro right into my hydration bladder. However, every time I do so, it shoots a lot of water out, so I'm kind of losing efficiency there. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to put the Nalgene attachment on top, which just sits in the mouth of the bottle, and I will pump that full, which takes about 50 strokes and about a minute and a half or so if you're going at a moderate pace to fill that bottle up. And that's basically what I need to put to fill this up. Maybe 2 of them just to be safe. And then I will break camp. And yesterday I would have said this was not worth having, but man, this is nice. I didn't know there was going to be these nice flat rocks at the campsite. Several of them that somebody obviously has probably placed here over time. But it's okay. That is all right. 2-pound chair, but I think it was worth it because it's comfortable to sit in and not be on the ground. My tent, of course, it's a single wall tent. If you saw the review, I will link to it in the description. If you haven't, it's a cheap tent. Let's just face it. And it's a little bit heavier probably than it needs to be, but it served my needs. And inside the tent, I stayed pretty warm in my bag. My feet did get a little cool. I should have brought some socks to keep my feet warm. Took my hiking socks off. This pad, which isn't even made anymore by this particular company, but there's probably some similar ones out there, was pretty comfortable, and that climate pillow was pretty comfortable. No real complaints overall. The plan is to go down to the stream, take my Nalgene bottle, my Catadine's already down there, fill up the Nalgene about 3 times, just take about 3 or 4 minutes to do that, transfer that water into, or majority of the water into Camelback, and then finish packing up. I'm going to head up to Katy Falls and back down here, across this creek, and down East Caney Creek. Pretty cool. See you in a bit. Okie dokie. Well, time to head out from the campsite. It's a little bit before 10. I'm going to go back this way behind me, up the hill. I can go take some photos and videos of Caney Falls for a minute, and I got to go on nature crawls. I'm gonna go up here and do that. Okay. All right, everybody. Caney Falls. Isn't that beautiful? I had to hike down here before I left for the day, so I could show you how pretty it is. It's not a huge waterfall, but man, even with no rain, that sucker is going pretty good. Nice pool of water down here. This would be a nice cool place in the summertime to get cool if you were down here hiking. Sheer bluffs up there, and Caney Creek continues that way, which goes toward another campsite, and then the campsite I had last night. Very cool. Very super cool. And here's Caney Falls from above. Beautiful. What a pleasing sound. Back at the junction of the Caney Creek, West, East, and Buckeye. I'm headed this way, going right across the creek to the Caney Creek and up the trail. Should be a lot easier going today, except for that very last mile, which I got to hike back up to the Buckeye parking lot. But let's see if I can get across this without busting my butt. So, here we go. Piece of cake. Piece of cake. Alright. Caney Creek continues up here. Caney Creek itself is up there. And the trail pretty much follows this ridge line. Also, just passed my campsite I had last night. Hey! A little bit of a hot spot action right there, so I put on some KT tape. Getting a little bit warm and irritable. But I'm at a nice little spot right here on Caney Creek. Nice little shady spot to rest. Have some bar and some Stingarita. Hand sanitizer there. Maybe a little drink of water. I need to fill back up, which I probably will while I'm here at the creek. Perfect for that. And it's cool. I'm making really good time. So far I've gone just over a mile and just under 30 minutes. 27 minutes. It'll be a lot easier going today. Probably will get back to the trailhead by lunchtime or so. While eating lunch that way there. I just crossed the creek there and came out at the East Caney Trailhead. I have to go up that road behind that truck in order to get to my truck, and I think I might just do that instead of eating lunch right now. I'll take me a little bit of a rest break and go from there. And right now I've done about 4.23 miles per Garmin watch, and I've walked for about just under 3 hours. So take a little 10-minute rest break, and I think I'll just walk up the road to my truck and then eat lunch. See you in a bit. Showing my age here. I feel like Maverick and Goose going into the danger zone. Not really, but excuse me. This is the last leg of my hike. Going up this Forest Service road to the Buckeye Trailhead, because that's where I had to park yesterday. And I'll be glad to see the Black Panther. That's what I call my truck, because it's a Black Canyon. Name all my vehicles. So I'm glad to see him, because I know there's an ice chest in there. May not be super cold. There's going to be some cold beverages in there. Gatorade and some water. Yay! Truck. I see it. I see it.